What if the friendliest face in town was the one nobody should have trusted? Wyoming. The morning sun spilled across the sidewalks of a quiet Wyoming community. People waved. Dogs barked behind white fences. And right in the middle of it all was a man everyone knew. He smiled at every passing car. He smiled at parents walking their children to school. He smiled at strangers. The same smile. Every day. Every time. No one questioned it. Why would they? Everyone trusted him. A few blocks away, Trinity hurried across a grocery store parking lot. Balancing a coffee in one hand and her phone in the other, she had a habit of sending the same message every afternoon. Made it. Talk later. It was a small routine, one nobody paid attention to, until the day that message never arrived. First, nothing seemed wrong. Hours passed. Then more hours. Calls rang unanswered. Messages stay unread. And somewhere inside that quiet Wyoming town, a smile never disappeared. But one detail was about to change everything. But one detail didn't add up. How do you notice the moment someone's life changes forever? For Trinity's family, it wasn't a scream. It wasn't an emergency call. It was silent. Every afternoon, her phone lit up with the same simple message. Made it. Talk later. Nothing dramatic. Nothing memorable. Until it stopped. Her sister stared at the empty screen. 5 minutes became 30. 30 became hours. The message never came. And for the first time in years, Trinity broke a promise she had never broken before. Meanwhile, across town, one man kept smiling. Something wasn't right. What if the answer was sitting in plain sight the entire time? 18 hours later, by the next morning, worry had turned into fear. Friends called. Family searched. No one had seen Trinity. Then a store employee remembered something. Not a scream. Not an argument. A smile. The same man who always seemed friendly had been standing near the exit that afternoon. Most people wouldn't have remembered him, because nothing about him looked unusual. But security footage revealed one detail investigators couldn't ignore. As Trinity walked out of the store, he walked out seconds later. And suddenly, that familiar smile didn't feel so comforting anymore. How long would you wait before accepting that something was terribly wrong? Day 3. Trinity's phone was still active, but nobody answered. Every call went straight to silence. Her sister kept refreshing her messages. Over and over. The last text remained exactly where it had been for days. Unread. Unopened. Frozen in time. Then investigators uncovered something unexpected. A location ping. Brief. Almost missed. It placed Trinity's phone near a road she had no reason to be traveling. And according to witnesses, someone else had been seen there too. The timeline begins to shift. For the first time, the search was no longer about where Trinity went. It was about who was with her. What if the most unsettling clue wasn't evidence, but a reaction? Investigators began collecting security recordings from across town. Most people looked worried, concerned, confused. But one face stood out. The same man. The same expression. The same smile. In every recording. Even as search teams grew larger. Even as families begged for answers. One witness later described it as strange. Not because he was smiling, but because nothing ever seemed to change it. Then another discovery surfaced. His account of that day didn't match the timeline. Not by hours. Just enough to matter. First major contradiction. And for the first time, investigators stopped looking at him as a neighbor and started looking at him as a possibility. What if the truth had been sitting in plain sight all along? Investigators returned to the property one final time. This time, they weren't looking for possibilities. They were looking for proof. Hours into the search, they found it. A piece of evidence connected directly to Trinity. The room fell silent. For her family, hope and heartbreak collided at the same moment. The person they had been searching for had finally been found. And the man who always greeted everyone with a smile? For the first time, witnesses noticed something different. The smile was gone. The case changes forever, but investigators were about to uncover something even more disturbing. How do you measure justice after a family loses someone they love? Verdict delivered. The evidence was undeniable. The man everyone trusted was found guilty. For years, his smile had hidden the truth. Now there was nowhere left to hide. Inside the courtroom, Trinity's family held each other as the verdict was read. Tears fell, not because the pain was gone, but because the waiting was finally over. Later that evening, her sister opened their old message thread. At the top was the routine text Trinity had sent so many times before. Made it. Talk later. She would never send it again. But her voice, her memory, and her story would never be forgotten. Justice had finally spoken. And this time, the silence was over. Thank you for watching The Veil of Secret. If you believe every victim deserves to be remembered and every truth deserves to be uncovered, subscribe to The Veil of Secret and join us for more stories hidden in the shadows.